According to American Psychological Association, teens are more stressed than adults. And I know parents, you would be shocked at this, that you are paying the bills and you are doing all the hard work, then how come they are more stressed than us? The biggest reason for their stress and the anxiety globally in teens is academic stress and performance pressure. Parents and educators, this conversation is important because this helps us understand the ground reality, and through this we can help our children navigate their academic journey. Namaste and welcome to the Safe Space with Binny, where we are discussing exams, education, grades, and are we really measuring the right things? Let's talk about our education system. We need to understand the purpose of our education system. For that, I'll take you back to history. In olden times, we used to send our children to Gurukul, like a concept where early they were sent and they would learn life essential skills that were important then, like archery and warriorship and understanding about the world, learning math and Sanskrit and other languages. Also learning how to clean after themselves and live a very simple life. All of this so that when they come out of that structure, they are able to earn a livelihood. And that was working very well. As we evolved, we created this structure where we started bringing in more subjects, more nuances, PE and sports and different subjects that helped our children thrive into the world outside. So in current times, I feel there are three big purposes for the education system. Number one, to learn, to understand the key concepts of the world so that when they are ready and they move forward, they are able to find a career and earn a livelihood. It's simple. The second purpose is for them to learn life essential skills of being in a community, like-minded people, sharing, fighting, dealing with heartbreaks, rejection and failures, which builds a frustration tolerance, and it's equally important. The final purpose is degree is your only proof to your future employers about your grit, that you survived this education system for about 5 to 10 to 12 years and you showed up in the mundane day in, day out. That means that you're not the one who would quit easily. And if this is the purpose, then what is really happening today to the education system? Parents, just start looking around yourself, look at your children, look at the stress that they are carrying the moment they are 12 and 13, the moment they move to middle school and high school. Let me share an interesting perspective. I have these teen workshops where we have these engaging conversation and brainstorming session. And I ask children, why do you really go to school? And it's interesting to observe the children between the age of 9 and 12, most often than not point that they go to learn, they go to enjoy, make new friendships. And then of course, academics comes really last, but it's more about learning and new experiences and friendships. And the same children, when they are 16 to 18-year-olds, almost all of them point at academic excellence for the reason for going to school. Where did that shift happen? If as young children they go to learn and form friendships, then why as young adults they are turning into people who really want to perfect and perform and please? Parents, are we sending our children to learn or are we sending our children to perform? What I'm seeing in the current education system, we are literally mass producing one size fits all kind of students, where we are not looking at their aptitude. We are not looking at what kind of a learner they are. And as long as you're getting those 10 A stars or 5 A stars or 3 A's and 2 A stars, we are happy. Why? Why such innate competitiveness? Why are we comparing our children so much to perform like their siblings or cousins? Where are we really going wrong? The question here is, do we want our children to be perfecting puppets or performing puppets, because that's what the current education system is kind of producing? Or do we want our children to have grounded confidence, clarity, compassion? Do we want our children to be creative thinkers and thought leaders? Because AI is doing a great job in performing and perfecting and pleasing. And it's important we shift the gear to understanding what our children need and how can we provide them to what is their aptitude. So let's understand one of the fundamental things here. Every child is capable of excellence. Every child is born with innate potential and with an aptitude to fulfill their finest potential, whatever that may be. So they are born with that level of aptitude and excellence. They are born with the gifts and talents. But somewhere along the line, they stop believing in themselves. Parents, it's important that we start understanding the aspect of what we play in our child's life when it comes to academic excellence, the role that we play, the role that school plays. So one of the most fundamental things we need to remember is the environment that the child is raised in can either fuel or flatten their growth. What kind of environment are we giving our children? Is it fueling their growth or is it flattening their growth? Now, some of us may say that yes, but this is working for our child. Our child is, a good A student or an above average student, and good. That's great, right? But in my experience, what I have truly witnessed is that children who are doing phenomenally well academically end up having low self-esteem also because of their innate perfectionism. And so they link their performance to their self-worth, which is unhealthy as they grow into adults, because this causes conflicts in their relationship and their overall well-being. Children who are anyway performing below average also have the same issue with their self-worth. So somewhere education is very important, I agree, but not when it threatens their sense of identity, individuality, their hunger to be curious, or their mental health. So let's understand, what role does exam play? The idea of education system is that you go, you learn, you understand, you integrate the knowledge, and then there is kind of a test to see whether all that effort that the teacher has put on and the effort that you've put is coming to a point where they can get a decent pass. Why passing is important? Because that's a bare minimum of understanding a certain concept to the point that it is needed. That's why there is a passing mark all along. And so somewhere along the line, we forgot about the passing mark and we are now just looking at above average and excellence. There is a reason why there is a passing mark. And so it's so important that we understand that the purpose of exams and grade is just to test our knowledge as to how much of that concept we've understood. And so what if teachers were always evaluated on the level of understanding that they impart to the child about a particular topic? How much are they teaching and how the child is receiving? And so the teachers are evaluated only to the point where the child is passing. And as long as every child in their class passes, the teacher is doing a great job. And trust me, if you start doing that, you'll be surprised to see every child is capable of loving at least about 3 to 5 subjects organically. They are able to find what they really enjoy without that toxic expectation or pressure. And by the time they are in their high school, they would lean into subjects and choices and career based on what they are really good at, not based on the pressures and the comparison and the thrive that is being pushed on them. In my opinion, it's very important for us to now shift the gear and look at how the child needs to show up so that they are performing in a way that serves them best. And so in my career, I've been doing this for almost a decade now, working with adolescents and parents. One of the things that I consistently see is parents asking me, why is my child's grade dropping? Why am I suddenly seeing these behavioral issues? My child was an above average student all the way in primary school. Something shifts in middle school. Let me break that myth. It is nothing to do with your child and everything to do with the environment. One of the things that we need to lean into the neuroscience of children is that their thinking part of the brain completely develops by 25. That's the CEO of the brain, the prefrontal cortex. Your children's emotional part of the brain is completely developed at birth. So the age between 9 to 19 is filled with puberty, hormones, identity crisis. And it's a space where they are figuring themselves out. This helps in understanding that it is highly toxic to expect our children to find courses and choices of career when their brain is not fully developed for that. And so the pressure that comes somewhere kills their innate motivation. Most of the children between the age of 12 and 18 are choosing their subjects based on what their parents like, or they want to see that glow in their parents' eyes or their educators' eyes. So it's eventually about pleasing their nurturers and caregivers and less about what they really love. So that's number one reason, because they are leaning towards doing something that they probably don't enjoy. That's one of the reasons why the grades drop. Another reason is because they are going through identity crisis, friendships are important, feeling humiliated, feeling isolated, how they are feeling in their emotional life impacts directly their thrive to study and be interested about academics. But one of the main reasons why a child's grade drops is because there's something really deeper happening in their home environment or school environment. Either they are being humiliated or they are being bullied at home, or somebody is probably yelling a lot or shaming them a lot. But most importantly, maybe divorces are going on, separation is going on, parents are having big conflicts where they don't see a repair in their relationship. All of these aspects directly affects the child and their capability to focus, learn, memorize, or even show interest. A lot of young children are also dealing with families where there is diseases going on, addiction going on. And mind you, all of this is one of the fundamental reasons why a child's grade starts dropping. This is coming from data, this is coming from my own experience. So parents, take a moment here. If you are that parent who's struggling with their child's grade dropping, take a moment to reflect. Is there something going on in the environment? Is there something going on at school? Is there something going on where the child feels too controlled or is being pushed to take subject choices that they don't enjoy? Just relook at your expectations, relook at your own ground and see what can be shifted. Does this mean that a child is not capable of resetting and coming back to academic achievement, whatever that may mean? Not at all. A reset is completely possible for every child. As I said, every child is innately gifted to fulfill their best potential. They all have the aptitude. So how do we reset? Number one, parents and educators, of course, look at your children as a module to be studied. Observe your children. Get hungry to know all about them. Be curious. What do they like? What do they dislike? Who are they becoming? What kind of identity are they leaning into? What kind of brain do they have? Are they highly sensitive? Do they joke a lot? Are they thriving? Do they have better friendships? What's going on in their relationships? Are they introverted? Are they extroverted? How do they learn? Do they enjoy learning through reading? Do they enjoy learning through listening? Do they enjoy learning experientially? Do they enjoy learning through writing? There is this beautiful online free test of VARK, which is a kind of a learner that your child could be. It's great to do that online test and just understand what kind of a learner they are. Each of these things shows your child that you're invested in terms of time, in terms of intention. It's not about performance, it's just about knowing them better. The more you invest this level of time and understanding around your child's life, it directly impacts their sense of self-worth. They feel valued, they feel seen, they feel excited about life. And this impacts their intrinsic motivation to work hard in what really matters. Your child sees that what they do really matter for themselves because you've already showed that to them and for everyone else around them. To me, this is one of the best ways to nudge the child in the right direction. The more time, attention, fun conversation, interesting aspects of life that you bring into their life, the more they are excited to learn and study. Remember, as human beings, we love to thrive. I've never met a single kid sitting on this yellow couch and telling me, you know what, Miss Binny, I love to get my E's or I love my C minuses. Not at all. Every child totally wants to thrive. Every D student or a below average student wants to show that he's capable or she's capable of A stars. They need just one adult who completely, utterly believes in them. Belief is contagious, parents. If your child sees how innately you believe in their potential, I promise you they start believing in their potential too. It's an important conversation to know that when your child's grades are dropping, their sense of self-worth is really low. It is that time when they need to see that belief that you carry for them, which helps them reset. Another way of looking at it is that children love stories. If you explain to them that the difference between a D and a C is about 8 to 10 marks only, if you simplify that, and I've done this in my personal practice, I've worked with children who are below average, and by this concept, they have really thrived. Just reminding that you just have to get about 8 marks more in history to go from a C to a B. And that gives them an instant feeling of I can do this. And remember, parents, it's never about C minus to A star. The journey is about C minus, and we celebrate when you are C. And we celebrate or we acknowledge when you are C plus. And every exam, we just want about 5 to 10 marks more. And can we put that effort together? And I'm here with you. Let's do it together. Teach them new ways to study through YouTube, through play acting, through making flashcards. Make it exciting for them. I promise you, parents, whether your child is in AS level or they are in grade 7, these concepts will definitely make an impact in the way they study, in the way they show up, and in their overall results. So as we are leaning more into this awareness as to how can we bring it a more child-centric conversation around exams, around grades, and around education system, parents, there are tiny do's and don'ts, okay? One of the biggest thing that kills their motivation is the amount of judgment we show them about how much time they are studying or not. It's the kind of shaming we do when their grades are low. And it's the kind of comparison that we bring to the table. The way we compare our kids like they are some products, they are not. They are so beautiful, so unique, so gifted. As long as the focus is on their individual journey and as long as they are progressing at baby steps, please step away from comparison. It truly kills their personality. Parents, we also need to know that a lot of their lifestyle choices is also impacting the way they memorize, the way they focus, the way they learn. Too much screen time completely affects their way to memorize and learn things, okay? It also creates more anxiety in them. No energy drinks at all during exams or in fact throughout the academic year. It's directly related to spikes in their energy level, which eventually affects their cognitive capabilities. So no energy drinks, not much screen time, a lot of sleep, good nutrition. Please, parents, this is a special humble request. If your child is coming into grade 8 to all the way AS, A levels, do not remove them from sports. They love that. It's good for energy movement. They need that sunshine. They need that nature. I see a lot of parents suddenly pushing so much of schedules around those high school years that they stop thriving because their brain needs that fun play. Do not take away their sports. Let them chill, let them play, let them rest, and then let them study. These are one of the core aspects that also impact the way they study. Apart from, of course, parents who are fully present, parents who are not judging and comparing and shaming. As we are almost at the end of this conversation, I would like to bring in a couple of things that will probably help you understand why it's never that serious. Number one, about 62% of college graduates do not end up taking or making their livelihood through the graduate degree that they have studied in. Okay, so the courses that they select, 62% out of them do not end up getting job in those lines or those areas. Over 50% of graduates have actually said that if they had a choice again, they'll choose different courses. They would rather lean into passion or choices that they loved. Eventually, we really don't know where the world is moving. We have no clue with the AI in picture what job markets or opportunities are really going to be present for our children. What we do know is, number one, it's not that serious between 16 to 18 years. They can go at their own pace. They will figure out their career choices as long as you just start noticing what they enjoy and they lean into those subjects. Most often than not, in my own personal experience, I've noticed that most of the youth who I work with, who are engineers or who are coming from STEM courses, or even studying environmental science, by the time they finish their degree, they totally choose something out of the box. They go into creative lines, they become brand strategists, and you'll be surprised that time their brain is fully developed. So very important, parents, for you to remember, it's not that serious. By the time they are 25 and 30, they will figure it out. We figured it out. And I know that I get this question a lot from my teenage audience, and they tell me, Miss Binny, you can say this, you're a master's in psychology, you're a psychologist, but let me tell you my story, okay? I was a great student all the way till I was 10. And as always, something happened and my grades started dropping. Truly dropping. I became a below average student, barely hoping and praying to every god in our Hinduism that exists to just pass this year. God, just let me pass this year and I promise I'll work hard. I couldn't reset. Okay, so much so that my 10th standard grades were in 50s. I didn't even get a first class. I felt that I'm not at all good enough. Okay, I somehow finished my graduate degree in commerce and I worked throughout my life in sales and marketing. What I'm doing today came to me in my 40s. All I'm saying is the moment I found out what my purpose is and what my innate passion is, I did my master's after that. All of this that you're seeing is something that came much later to me. Now I know I'm not somebody who would use one anecdotal Binny's experience and say, your child also will be as whatever. But data is pointing that. There is this beautiful book written by a psychologist, Adam Grant, and he writes about hidden potential in children. And he truly, through data, cites that every child is capable of achieving their truest potential because they have the gifts, talent, and aptitude. We just need to nurture it to a point where they find themselves. And for whatever reason, even if it is not nurtured now, even if they are still a below average student, let me remind you that a below average grade is not a below average child. An A-star grade is not an A-star child. All the child needs is a lot of understanding and a belief. So if you are that teenager listening to this, remember, I believe in you. You are fully capable of achieving whatever you want. If not now, then your time will definitely come. Humble request, parents, when it comes to your child's grades or exam times, please remember to make it about them. It is still their journey. And sometimes the children absolutely go by our vibe, and if we are super pressured, they would be super pressured. They can actually pick up on our stressors. One of the things, parents, please step away from tom-tomming their grades on Facebook. It does not at all help them. In fact, I've had A-star students sit here, and when I say, how do you feel about your, grades? And their first answer is, oh, well, now I know my parents will tom-tom about this on Facebook and all around. And sometimes that's devastating because in their mind, they feel that they have to make you proud so that you can talk about it to the world. And that's not the point of any exam or any grade. So be that parent who never announces their child's grade. In fact, whether they are in A levels or O levels, be that parent who chins up and say, we don't discuss grades. Don't go all out sharing it, because that exercise itself makes them feel that they are only worthy when they are performing. Promise me, parents, that when you're listening to this, and especially when your children's grades are coming out, you are on the back foot. You're seriously just going to observe them, going to celebrate them, make it more about fun, acknowledgement, and acceptance, and not at all about performance. Please, whatever grades your child get, remember that they are absolutely worthy and they will figure themselves out. Just have that trust. Thank you. So parents, Let's tune into believing in our kids completely, unabashedly. Thank you very much. Namaste.